Dear viewers, I'm happy again to be with you. This is the second part of the interview with our dear friend and esteemed collaborator from Kurdistan, Sherzad. It's in the first part of the interview last week, we talked about Kurdistan till now. Now, I think it's time that we talk about the future. What is in store for the Kurdish people? What is in store for the Middle East? And stay with us, because I think we have some very interesting ideas on how to move on to the future now that with the new Trump administration, that I'm very happy to be a part of the apparatus that brought us here and will continue afterwards. We can really do some very interesting work. Sherzad, now that all of these things have happened in Syria, October 7th, how do you as a Kurd see the future?
I believe after 7 October, after referendum, Kurdish referendum, not just 7 October, because 7 October happened because Biden opened Iranian hand in Middle East and opened Erdogan and Turkish militia hand in Middle East. Because of this, after Iran and Turkish understand if Kurdistan be independent, it's mean like all Arab and Iran and Turkish say Kurdistan is second Israel. Exactly, is Kurdistan in future be second Israel in Middle East. Why? Because Israel believe not like Iran and not like Turkish just have one religion or one Shia or Sunna in these two countries.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Kurdish territory and Israeli territories are the only areas in the region which tolerate other peoples, other religions, and other cultures. All the others are theocratic regimes which oppress their people. Sorry to interrupt, but it's something that our viewers must understand.
You know, maybe it's so special between Kurdish and Jewish. The old Jewish community in the Jewish history, it is Kurdish Jewish community because it's 2,700 years.
And remind us, since when the Kurdish people have been there? Since exactly the same time. Whereas all the other cultures have come in thousands of years later.
Yeah. And in these 2,700 years, Kurdish and Jewish do not have any problem with each other. In this time, all Kurdish people, it's Zoroastrian. Before 500 years, old ISIS occupied Kurdish land and
forced them to become Muslims.
And but Kurdish not by ideology. Kurdish not by ideology Muslim. Not ideologic Muslim. It's so different. You like another people, like Turkish people, by culture, by ideology, by everything. He is Muslim. He believe killed themselves because of Paradise and 72 Ori and.
But let's come to the plans for now.
Now,
what do you see coming?
When you talk about future, must you go back to past to understand. To understand the future. Now, in this 100 years in Sykes-Picot map, we understand the Iranian people and the Turkish people and Arab people cannot be leader to any country because do not believe another civilization, do not believe another religion, do not believe another people.
They don't tolerate anybody else except themselves.
But now, if the world do not want a second Holocaust in the world, must support these people believe coexistence or tolerance.
Well, let me interrupt you, and I'm going to let you and our viewers in on a little secret. Well, it's not a secret, but In 2019, we, as a Republican, as Overseas Hellenic Chapter, we had a conference on the oil and the energy situation in Eastern Mediterranean and the Middle East. And we had a proposal which was very warmly received by the then Trump administration. What our proposal was: make oil and gas travel to Europe and other countries, not by ship going through the Straits of Hormuz and the Straits and the Red Sea and Ras Al Madaba, but take it by land in pipelines, one for gas and one for oil, from the Emirates, from the Saudi Arabia, and take it to Egypt and possibly Israel, and have a loading port in the Mediterranean. Now that was a game changer. And the Trump administration caught on to that plan immediately because they realized it would change the geopolitics in the area. It would reduce Iran's influence because it couldn't block the Straits of Hormuz anymore, because the oil wouldn't be passing there. And the only oil that may be passing was the ones that the Iranians themselves were selling to the Chinese. So, as a matter of fact, who cares? So, our proposal is going to be a game changer. So, I'm kind of thinking aloud. Say, what if the Kurdish energy products met this pipeline and came out to the Mediterranean? Wouldn't that cement the Middle East into a region where the two only freedom-loving entities, Israel and Kurdistan, would have the control, the strategic control of the energy, instead of countries who are completely totalitarian have that same control? That's a food for thought now that Syria and the Kurdish state almost will have borders, or will have borders in the future with Israel. And this is a real game changer, and I'm glad to say this is the first time in the world this has been your privy today to receiving this communique from the Republican Party officially here in Greece. And this is an add-on to the project, and I would invite you and any Kurdish official to come to our conference on the 26th of March in Athens, and we will present and improve on our original plan, because the Kurdish state needs power, it needs wealth, and it needs recognition. And believe me, by God, we in the Republican Party are ready to give all three. And having said that, how do you see the geopolitics of the region evolving after this proposal?
Because of this, in first interview, I say must United States or Israel and some maybe Europe countries support Kurdish to this Kurdish part, is Iraqi Kurdistan and Syrian Kurdistan be one part, because if you need Iran do not play this bad game to sell oil to China and use this money for terror in Middle East, in Yemen, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Iraq, in Israeli border. How you can stop Iran for this game? How stop Turkish to this game? You have option.
The thing is, we have two players in the region who are destabilizing forces. One is Iran, and one is Turkey. They're moving in parallel. They both have the same goal. One wants to revitalize the old Persian Empire. The other one wants to revitalize the old Ottoman Empire. They're working in parallel, but the effect is the same because they're both funding the same terrorist or relatively different or many times the same terrorist organization, and they all hit Israel and the Kurds and the West.
The problem now do not just this Iranian regime today control Iran. The problem do not have any factory in Iran. You control Iran now, down Iran, like plan tomorrow down Iran. Who can control? Who you believe? Which part in Iran go to control Tehran? Shah, it's social nationalist fascism, and to the party. Left party, it is so radical left party. It's do not believe any connection with the United States, with Israel, and do not different between this communist Iranian Communist Party and Iranian left group with all Islamic terrorist group. Okay, now in Iran you have just Kurdish.
So again, I'm sorry. Again, the Kurds are the stabilizing force in the region.
Yes. Now, when you need stop Turkish in Middle East, or you need stop Iran, or you change Turkish regime, or you change Iranian regime, the problem in this country do not like Donald Trump say, President Donald Trump say, we do not believe change must. If tomorrow Erdogan go and another one come, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Left and right and liberal.
They all agree on the fact that Turkey must become a dominant world power. The same way as the mullahs in Iran want to revive.
Now, which plan? Which plan is better? Now, in this point, I believe Bernard Luis plan. It's a good plan for make Iraq 4 parts. 1 part to Kurdish, 1 part to Sunni, 1 part to Shia, another part to Christian, and Turkey. Turkey now have problem with all the world, with Iran, with sometime with Iran, with Armenia, with Kurdish in Iraq, with Kurdish in Syria, with Greece, with I do not know. Turkey have problem inside, have thousands problem, and now.
In politics, usually many countries that have internal problems try to make wars in order to get their people to forget internal problems. That's called exporting warfare.
Now, Turkey, if he is problem for all Europe and for United States, for all Middle East, how you can stop this big snake, big fire in Middle East? Turkey now do not have anything named one Turkey, because in Turkey, inside Turkey, a lot of things change in economy, in politics, and a lot of things change. Because of this, Turkey today do not have anything, just have Kurdish card. Sorry, just have Kurdish card. Turkey today need use Öcalan card, PKK card, because now Turkish control Öcalan to use Öcalan and Öcalan party to against these projects named Iraqi Kurdistan and Syrian Kurdistan become one part. You know, Öcalan one part to Turkish agenda and Turkish plan. But in Iran you have plan, in Syria you have plan, in Iraq you have plan. How before Kurdish people pay blood to save them border, today pay petrol. Because of this Kurdish,
let's remind
with the United States.
Let's remind our viewers. Let nobody forget that at this moment there's a virtual war going on in Syria. And the Kurdish coalition forces are there guarding the basic Western ideals, and they control the prisons that house the ISIS terrorists. And God forbid that something happens and those persons who are detained for terrorist activities are released. So basically, the Kurds are doing West's dirty work. And something that in Europe we tend to forget, or the woke culture tries to make us forget, is that there are some people out there with very little means, with the support at this moment of very, very small contingent from the United States. They're fighting the war, the dirty war that nobody's actually daring to talk about. And they're fighting, the Kurds are fighting the war against ISIS. And I think it's absolutely ludicrous that when Europe is being faced by continuous terrorist threats, which come from ISIS, how Europe forgets the fact that the Kurds are fighting the war for Europe, for Kurds, for the peoples who don't want religious oppression. And I hear voices in Europe speaking for the Islamists, and I'm absolutely flabbergasted at all this. So as we're talking about the future, I think that the way the things are going to pan out, that the various factions within the Muslims are going to start butchering each other. And it's probably quite true. The problem is, how do we stop this from affecting the freedom-loving peoples of the region, namely the Kurds and the Israelis? So how do you see that playing out? Because the butchering ground is Gaza, because they butchered the Israelis. They're butchering themselves. I mean, there have been masses of slaughters of local residents by Hamas over the past years because they dared to dissent. There's butchering going on in Syria between the various Islamist factions. There's butchering going on in Iraq, and there's no stop to it. How do you see that playing out within the next years? Because it's also a fight between the Shia and the Sunnis.
Yeah, I believe Turkey do not have any future in Syria. Just use Turkey for remove Iran in Syria. After, I believe in this year have war between each other, between Syrian this militia, Turkish militia, this terrorist group, Jabhat al-Nusra, Daesh, ISIS or Al Qaeda. I think in this year must happen this war between each other, because all terrorist group in the world now between Iraq and Syria, and all now have independent country named Syria, and the father of these groups today support this country.
Well, the president of Syria was an ex-terrorist. I mean,
in politics, say it is past, but
yes.
Today. I do not believe the Turkey have any future in Syria. Why? Because Emirat and Saudi Arabic and Israel and Kurdish people and Jordan and Derzi do not stupid make copy paste to Khomeini regime in Syria.
Well,
because now we are in 2025.
I sincerely hope that all these nationalities and entities that you spoke about, because we also have to consider the plight of the Druze in southern Lebanon. We have to consider the in southern Syria, excuse me. You have to consider the plight of the Alawites in western Syria, and the plight of the Christians in Syria, and apart from the plight of the Kurds. And I think that eventually all these entities, together with the Saudis, the Jordanians, the Israel, will band up. We'll see what's good for them, which is the joint effort to bring peace and stability, and most important, prosperity to the area. Because it's an old saying that strife and war goes hand in hand with poverty. And when you see, I mean, I lived it in Somalia, wherever you see great poverty, you also see the big barons, whether they religious, I mean, this is an old, the big religious leaders of minorities take advantage of all these poor people and make them, can convert them into terrorism, because nobody who's in good standing will go out and become a terrorist and blowing his child up for some ludicrous reason. You only do that is if you're desperate. And they try to make these people desperate by keeping them poor. And our answer as Republicans, and as we're moving into time, I'd like you to comment a little bit on the change in the regime and what you're hoping from Washington as not an intervention, as a guidance. Let's wrap it up by giving a note of what may come if President Trump's and our plans for the greater region are accepted by the countries. Because if the countries and the ethnicities we talk about don't accept it, obviously they won't go ahead. So what's your take on that? How do you think that the future will end up in like 3-4 years? Because obviously we're talking about definitely 8 years of stability under Trump and later Vance administration.
I believe yes. Now I have big hope to Middle East. I do not. I understand Turkey do not in future do not be this Turkey like today or before 7 October, because we all see in after 7 October how Turkish support Hezbollah and Hamas by public. We see Hakan Fidan in Arab conference, in first Arab and second Arab conference in I think in Egypt and Qatar, and Turkish by public support, like one member in NATO support terrorists. What's mean? It's been must Turkey go to out NATO? Because if do not go to out NATO, it's the dangers for Middle East, dangers for Israel and for Kurdish people, to Greece, to all country.
Yes, but that I'm sorry.
It's future.
Yeah.
It is future. You know, because because where Turkey give power to support Zelensky, in one time support al-Shara in Syria, how support Hamas, how support Hezbollah, where Turkey give this green light for where?
They got it from the Biden administration.
Yes.
They got it from the Muslim Brotherhood. And I'm going to say this as an American. Qatar too, yeah. I'm going to say it as an American, and as I study Middle East politics, the biggest source of problems in the Middle East has one name. It's called the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah.
And the Muslim Brotherhood
Shia and Sunnah, Muslim Sunnah brother and Shia Sunnah brother. It's the same thing. It's a social nationalist Islam.
It was Nazi during the Second World War, and I am the one who wrote the book on how the Nazi Muslim brothers came to Greece under the 682 SS regiment of the Nazi regime and murdered thousands and thousands of Greeks. After moving, and then they moved to Yugoslavia, they murdered the Greek and Jewish population in Pristina, and then thankfully the Allies killed almost all of them in Austria. But the Muslim Brotherhood was revived in Turkey by Erbakan. Erbakan was the political mentor of Erdogan.
Yeah.
And now this Muslim Brotherhood has expanded and has a subsidiary, Hamas, and many other terrorist organizations. And we have, as a Republican Party, we've signed signed with Israel, the Republican Party, U.S. Republican Party of Israel, to get the Muslim Brotherhood declared as a terrorist organization, which is going to create havoc for Turkey. And if Turkey doesn't want to play by the rules, obviously, they can always leave NATO, no problem. Foreign Secretary Rubio has the same thing. Our Defense Secretary said the same thing. Turkey must stop being a destabilizing factor in the area. and stop supporting all the terrorist organizations, al-Nusra, and we've caught them red-handed, funding Hezbollah.
Yeah.
So what I think that our take is on this second part of the interview is that things are looking brighter in the Middle East for three reasons. One is the fact that the President Trump has come back with a very strong proposal and a definite commitment to getting things solved. And the second and third reason is that the two countries, or let's say the two entities in the area, which are tolerant to various religions, ethnicities, that's Israel and the Kurdistan, are now in a position to take their rightful place in Middle East history. Now, having said that, we will ask you to come to our conference and have it attended by Kurdish officials. I'm sure you'll pass it on.
You choose so good dates, Kurdish New Year.
Oh, great.
Nowruz, it's between 21 March and
26th of March. I think we're going to have some very nice surprises, which we will send back to Washington. And I think it's going to be a good day for the people of the Middle East, because peace and prosperity comes through not wanting to blow up the world like the previous administration did. And at that point, I want to thank my good friend Sherzad for being again on the interview. I promise we will have him in the future, because he's a real fighter like us over here. He has been the victim of 3 murder attacks by terrorists. And at that, make the honors and say good night to our viewers in Kurdish.
شەو ئاوە بمینێ بە خێر و خۆشیە، شەو شاد، هیوای شێوەشی خۆشتان بۆ دەخوازم. هیوادارم هەمیشە سەرکەوتوو بن، سەرکەوتن بۆ کورد و کوردستان و ئیسرائیل و هەموو وڵاتانی ئازادی خواز و مرۆڤ دۆست.
And to my friends in Israel, I will say shalom.
Shalom. ليلة توف.